Overcoming sales objections is one of the hardest things that real estate agents building their business have to deal with. And I am 100% cold calling based on a real estate sales team. And many other real estate agents have asked me, like, how I overcome objections or what I do to overcome objections. And it's a little bit of a loaded question. And what I mean when I say that is that, like, it depends on what the objection is. It depends on when it comes in the conversation. It depends on how it's phrased. But also, one of the biggest things that I want to communicate on this video is that don't spend a lot of time overcoming objections, but it's also because I don't get a lot of objections. And the reason I don't get a lot of objections is because the script, the real estate sales script or real estate talk path that I use is not, it doesn't really elicit many objections because the script that I use is 100% relationship based, or at least that's the intent of it. That's why I say what I say on a call, because my goal is to simply build a relationship with a property owner, regardless of whether or not they have a current real estate need or will ever have a current real estate need. And even if they don't have a real estate need, I still want to build a relationship with them because I am genuinely just trying to connect with people, find out who wants or needs help, or who might or need help in the future. And sometimes that means that somebody's not looking to make a move, but I'm still looking to see if there's some other way I can help them, even if it doesn't involve a real estate transaction. So, how do I overcome objections? Like if somebody says, hey, we're not going, like a lot of times, what are the objections I get? Hey, my interest rate is really low on my home. And so it doesn't really make sense for me to move because my interest rate is in the 2s or 3s or whatever it is. And if I were to sell my home and buy another one, I would have to get another mortgage with a much higher interest rate because interest rates are currently higher. And like when I'm cold calling, now if somebody reaches out to me for help and they say, hey, we want to move, and they're like, but then they come up with the objections, I might overcome objections in that setting. But when I'm the one doing the reaching out, they're not initiating the contact. I'm trying to not be adversarial at all. I want to be a helpful friend, consultant, business partner. And so if somebody's like, hey, I don't really want to move, or I don't think I should make a move because of interest rates, I'm like, then don't. Like, that's literally where I come at this. So that's how I do it, is I don't overcome objections. Like if somebody says, hey, I don't want to make a move right now because home prices are high or whatever, there's nothing to really, what am I going to say to that? If they don't want to make a move, they don't want to make a move. My goal on a cold call is not to convince a property owner to let me list their house for sale or help them buy a home when they have no real estate want or need. Like that is extremely self-serving, and I don't have to manipulate people or bend people to my will in that way. Because if I'm doing the right things with my cold calling efforts, which means talking to minimum 30 people a day, then I'm going to end up connecting with people who have a real estate need. And sometimes it's going to be in the immediate sense or near future. And that's all I need to do is connect with those people. So there's no reason to overcome objections. If somebody says, hey, we don't want to sell right now, we're going to wait a year, or we're going to wait till interest rates come down, or we're going to wait until prices come down. Now, sometimes, depending on what level of rapport I've built with a property owner on a call, I might sometimes say, I gotcha, so you're looking to make a move, but I'll ask them why they're looking to make a move. Because the interest rates and the prices are why they're hesitant, but I want to know why they actually want to make the move. And sometimes they'll say, you know what, we need to downsize. We can't handle stairs anymore. And they're getting older or they have health issues and they can't handle stairs. Where if they're in a colonial style home or a 2-story home or a 2 or more story home and they are tripping and falling over themselves, I'm not going to tell them what to do, but what I might say is, okay, no problem. If interest rates don't change and if prices stayed the same indefinitely, could you make this home your forever home? Because they're telling me that they can't handle stairs, but their home has stairs. So I'll ask them, can you make this work? Is it possible that you could make this work forever? And sometimes they'll say, well, no, I eventually have to make a move. I'm just not ready yet, because they're trying to stomach the interest rates and the prices and all that kind of stuff. So my job is not to expedite them, but I do ask questions that get them to challenge their own thinking, not to say that their thinking is wrong, but to at least consider another alternative. But I'm just asking a question. It's just a conversation. And I'm genuinely curious. Hey, maybe you do trip over yourself or trip over the stairs or can't handle the stairs, but maybe staying in your home is worth it to you for whatever reason, even though that happens. And maybe you can just be more careful and not trip over stairs and you can stay in your home. So I'm not here to tell you can't do that. I'm just trying to understand what happens for real. At some point, are you going to move regardless of interest rates and prices? Or is this literally a matter of, you're not really in a position to have to move? And if you're not, that means you're not that motivated, which just means, hey, I'm going to send you my contact information and tell you to reach out when you're ready. And so the point is, I just reach out and say, hey, we just sold a house around the corner from you. That's the definition of circle prospecting. I'm calling around a just listed or just sold, and I'm calling around a radius of an area. A radius is like a circle or circumference. And I'm just trying to build relationships with property owners. So there's nothing to overcome objections about. Now, there are some times where somebody says, you know what, we are going to make a move, and we've already been talking to a real estate agent, and we, that reached out to us, and we're very comfortable with them. So we might make a move. Now, there are times where I might say, hey, listen, are you open to a second opinion? And I will tell them I will explain the track record of my team, because my team is pretty successful. So I will sometimes explain and say, hey, listen, we do a ton of business in this area. This is our specialty. Would you be open to a second opinion? But I'll give them an out. I'll even say, or do you just want to kind of stay with the agent that you have, and just roll the dice or whatever? And that's it. When I start to overcome objections on a cold call, it just raises the initial defensiveness that most cold calls start off with anyway. And I do not want to re-aggravate that resistance. I'm trying to just have a low pressure, person-to-person conversation, genuinely showing that I care about what they're trying to do, and letting them know that if they would like help, I'm happy to do anything I can to help them. My team and I are. And if they don't want help, that is absolutely okay. I'm trying to think what other objections that people possibly come up with. Sometimes they'll say hey, I don't have a real estate need, and then sometimes they'll say, oh, well, I it's not even an objection. It's more just they don't have a real estate need. So I'll say, okay, no problem. Is there an agent that you would work with if you did ever have a need? And because I'm trying to build the relationship, and I'm trying to see if there's an opening for a relationship. And a lot of times they'll say, well, my cousin's an agent, I'd probably use them. And I might say to them, have you used that agent before? Are you used to using family? You're not concerned that if you did ever use them, that it might become problematic if the transaction went awry and you had to deal with them and see them at a family dinner? It wouldn't be awkward. And usually they'll say, oh, I'd consider a backup option. I'm like, hey, if you use family, no big deal. You don't even have a real estate need right now, so it could all be a moot point. But if you ever have a real estate need, I would love to be a backup option. Is it okay to stay in touch? Yes. Okay, perfect. What's a good email for you? And just add them to the database and follow up with them passively. So that's what I do. So there's really, the way I do my calls, and you can see it in my other videos, it's relationship based. There's really no objection to handle. It is just simply calling, finding people who want help, and offering the help. That's it. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one.